I would like to call upon stage Shanavaz SF, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Right, good afternoon. Right, I think the topic of this, session, I mean, like the entire day, should be about L&D or leveraging L&D with AI or something like that. Because I think almost all the sessions have been talking about AI, isn't it or not? And unfortunately, I'm also going to talk about AI. Right. So I have, and I had more than 10 years of experience in L&D. Then I shifted. I didn't completely shift. I started using technologies to leverage L&D. So we as a group of people transformed L&D team into a business unit at Novak, right? So in the past 10 years, I've been into L&D, but mostly trying to use technologies to go and use them to enhance the experiences. So mostly we work on a lot of experience-driven training, so augmented reality, virtual reality, and other aspects. So in the past 2 years, we've also been using AI to go and make sure these immersive experiences also become more intelligent, right? So there are a lot of things that people have been speaking from the morning about how we can use Gen AI and AI to go ahead and make sure it becomes a holistic learning approach. Especially, I thank many speakers who have made it very simple in terms of what AI is and what Gen AI is, what should be done with AI and what should not be done, and things like that. And even the previous speaker, Naushad, I really liked the session because he was talking about balancing it out. Because since I've been from the L&D, it's not only that I've been from technology. So I really like that aspect that anywhere, whatever we are going to reach with these technologies, at the end there has to be that balance, right? But at the same time, we have to keep adopting, we have to keep evolving, otherwise we stay back, right? So we keep coming up with, or many solution providers like us, keep coming up with new solutions that can actually make life easier as learning administrators, like how I was once, and also for learners and also for trainers who are going to be the front face, right? So in that aspect, so I will skip a lot of the content because most of the content I see, I've seen that has been covered. So I'll talk more in terms of how we use AI in terms of immersive technologies, right? Trying to combine them with completely immersing users into the content, because we always believe the 2D screen keeps you as a third person. You always consume the content as third person. You watch it, right? But when you try to do something, you actually learn a lot. Right, so we work with a lot of manufacturing industries in terms of trying to make sure the skill happens by doing it. Right, many speakers spoke about in the earlier sessions also. By doing something, you actually learn a lot. You learn faster, right? And that is something that we have been doing a lot. So learning in terms of experience enriches whatever you consume as a content, right? So that is why we thought that when we were actually doing a lot of digital learning, so we should also enhance it with virtual and mixed reality experiences, right? And it also provides you hands-on learning experiences. It also gives you immediate feedback in terms of what you're doing, and that guides the way you're supposed to do things. I'll talk about one particular project that we have recently implemented for Canara Bank. It's a very mass project. Canara Bank has 80,000 employees. So for 80,000 employees, we have rolled out an AI-based immersive learning solution. So it's a cross-platform application that we have developed for them, which they use, their learners use on both web and also on VR. Of course, you cannot provide 80,000 VR headsets. So they have hubs. Right? A bank like Canara or any other bank, you have training hubs. In training hubs, you have virtual reality devices which people can go weigh the device and experience as if they are in the bank and they are speaking to a customer. There are multiple scenarios created. The scenarios are real life scenarios, and the AI can understand contextual conversations. Semantic evaluation happens, whatever conversation takes place between the AI and the executive. So the challenge that the bank was facing is it's very difficult to go ahead and govern these employees' conversations at the bank level. Right? And scenarios, as I said, there are if you have 10 products, right? So you have various scenarios for the customers can have interactions with. You also have complaints, right? So you also need to handle complaints. Now training them, logistically, it's very difficult, right? Especially in a PSU bank, right? You have to arrange, people come in, and many times they don't come in. You cannot, control them. So that is something that was a major challenge faced by the bank. To handle that, so the solution that we offered is we can infuse Gen AI into their existing scenarios. They already had been ahead by using VR for their trainings, but it was not infused with Gen AI. So how we came into picture is we analyze all the scenarios that they have been working on, right? Both the digital and VR-based scenarios, and we started infusing. We infused AI into it, and then we built a platform for them, which they can use to go ahead and administer training. Also, it's kind of a LMS and also the content. So they can also create the scenarios. They can also assign to the users. So it's completely end-to-end solution that we created for them. So it can create content, so it is also adaptable. So when a conversation is happening, based on the particular scenario, the content gets altered. The AI conversation that is happening between the executive and the coach, right? It changes, right, based on my conversation. And then it also has, since it also is a VR-based approach, we also infused gesture identification into it. So it's not only something that the content is being evaluated, your facial expression, your smile and everything, your eye contact, everything is being judged. So it's a holistic evaluation that they get, especially when someone tries it using a VR device. If they do not try a VR device, if they only have access to web, in some places they don't have, your entire conversation gets evaluated. So in terms of the content, whether you have the product knowledge or not, whether the person was giving the right solution to the customer's issue, was it resolved or not from the AI's perspective. Now the AI's perspective is defined by the subject matter experts of the bank. So we have deep conversations with them in terms of understanding what exactly they feel like could be a possible conversation. Right? There could be 2-3 types, right? So that is what defines the scoring, the parameters on which they are scored, evaluated. So in those aspects, right, scenario-based learning, in many situations, like it can be sales situations, that is something that I think Averthon's founder was talking about it. It's a great solution again. So I'm not saying it is only for sales, it is for various situations, right? So if you take this example of Canara Bank, it was not only for the people who are selling products, it's also for their operational expenses. One of the major outcome of this thing is now this tool is being used by them also as a tool to analyze their current training effectiveness in terms of whether the customer facing executives have been trained well to handle the scenarios, right? What kind of changes they need to bring in the curriculum to go ahead and make sure that, because they have the entire conversation record with them. Right? So there are red flags raised in the platform where they can go to a particular conversation and see what is a red flag and why, what is the conversation history. They are able to identify there are some lags. right? So that is something that we have experienced even when we did for Hyundai, VR training and all, right? When we did, they had this assembly line training. We created the training, but the client came back to us to change the entire process, because then the supervisors identified that their assembly line, what they have been following, had been wrong. They had never seen it, in the entire flow. Only when they tried it in the VR, they found it out. Something like that happened here also. Of course, there is feedback and analytics. You have gamified elements added to it, right? In terms of understanding who stands where, in terms of the understanding of the content. So these are some of the features that we have incorporated. If you have a particular bank branch, right? They have rural branches, they have urban branches, they have gold loan branches separately. So any organization will have different types of scenarios. So for each scenario, they can choose a particular environment, 3D environment. Since I'm talking about immersive environments over here, so you can choose a character, you can choose an avatar, right? So you feel like you're interacting with the particular customer, type of customer there, and that gives you a kind of a personalization. And the solution is built in such a way that all the interaction that happen across the various devices, you can access over phone, you can access over VR devices, you can access over the web, right? All the data is collated. So some people who have access of the VR devices, right, they will be able to access, and they can continue their sessions later on when they at their workplace if they do not have access to it. So it's a completely cross-platform solution. These are some of the outcomes that Canara Bank has realized. So of course, the purpose is skill development. The adaptive learning is something that was lacking, right? One is role play based learning itself was a problem, because handling sessions at that scale was a difficulty. But with this platform, they are able to do that, and they are able to also get the feedback in terms of who actually needs that training more, right? And they are able to identify them, and sessions will be conducted with them in terms of more sessions. And this is something that can be extended to many other types of learning, not only in this scenario. I think someone asked earlier in the earlier session also, will it be customized only to a particular scenario? But no. So this is in one particular domain. If the knowledge base is changed, then it can be applied to any other platform. Yeah. They have some questions.
Do we have any questions?
Hi, I'm Sneharshi from Birla Opus. So most of the presentations we've seen from the morning is mostly a tech layer on top of whatever existing content that we have. But especially in terms of, let's say, AI or VR, that initial investment to make that content better is a huge amount, especially if I try to scale it everywhere. And currently in our scenario, let's say both for VR as well as AI, I'm pretty sure all of this will be obsolete in 2 or 3 years. Then does that extra immersion really merit that initial investment? At least even for a large business like ABG and its smaller businesses where I've kind of tried to work this out, it doesn't really work out cost-wise. Like I can't go back and show someone ki I'm investing northward of 1 crore in better immersion of learning, but then there's no metric which I can show them. Only metric I can show them better immersion. They can just go back and tell me make your previous courses more immersive. So that link I personally, question to the wider audience also if they've experienced something, but I mostly haven't.
Yeah, I also agree that because I've been in L&D.
My previous experience before HR was in the gaming industry where all of this mostly started. Even in games, you see, if you're increasing immersion, doesn't necessarily increase information transfer. Like the example which we saw, that person went on training for 14 hours. I put someone in a VR scenario, they might not look at my training, manufacturing setup, whatever I'm trying to train. Might look at the different scenario for 2 hours and then leave. So, is that immersion really meriting that ROI, or have you guys kind of pitched some sort of calculation to companies saying ki this is how you calculate ROI?
See, it's very difficult to calculate ROI generally in training itself. So that same applies to this case also. But I agree one point, like in terms of VR, right? Obviously, this question was there. How do I get the ROI, because the initial investment is very high, right? But now that is coming down. So if you go back and look at a lot of
Newer products are coming out, right?
Yeah.
I buy your product now. 3 years, that's obsolete. What will I do with that?
No,
Technology better.
that is what is happening now. Even if you look at Meta's device, which was launched 4 years ago, it is still relevant. Meta Quest 2 is still relevant, launched 4 years ago, right? So that is becoming it's eased out now in terms of devices. But let us come back to immersion, right? Immersion is not only in terms of devices, right? Now that is what AI is helping us. AI is helping us bring immersion in the content itself, right? Trying to go ahead and make it intelligent. So making the content immersive is also one most important aspect, not only using technology to make it immersive. Technology also adds on to it. In some, yeah.
Shortening my question is the only discernible improvement metric immersion, or is there something else by adding this technology?
No, of course there is because whatever content that you consume for 1 hour as a digital online learning or a e-learning format, right, that can be done in just 5 minutes. If something I have to do, it takes half an hour to 1 hour to understand an assembly line process, right? You can do that in just 5 minutes. And if you're going to take an assessment, another 5 minutes, of course. But for the learning, it will take only 5 minutes. Time is something that you will save over there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for insightful session. Can we have a